So now we have another element 2.2, making the management system work, the health and safety policy. Making the management system work, the health and safety policy. Now, introduction to health and safety policy, an important document. As I mentioned earlier, it's kind of a framework, it's a commitment, it's a promise to the shareholders and to the interested parties, even to the regulatory bodies, and proudly we publish this policy to create a better goodwill also in the market and to highlight, look, these are our safety policies, because this is kind of a foundation stone for good health and safety management system in an organization. It also sets out the organization's aims, identifies who is responsible for achieving these aims, and states how the aims are to be achieved, and most importantly specific to each organization's requirements. So it's not like the copy paste. I noted some trends, your policy, Sadara's policies, someone else is also copy pasting, that's not the right way to establish a policy. Even the policy means a kind of a commitment. You are just copying from others, while your organization, your location, your environmental aspects, impacts, the nature of your project, the size of your project, how come you can compare with Sadara? That is why specific to each organization's requirements, not to be confused with policy in the health and safety management system model. No, it's a group discussion. Why might the health and safety policy of two organizations be different? I repeat again, why might the health and safety policy of two organizations be different? What different segments gonna be there? Based on that, we can say, we need a separate policy instead of copy pasting. What do you think? Over to you, please. Anyone voluntarily can comment on it. Why might the health and safety policy of two organizations be different? Like why Saudi Aramco policy and Sadara's policy are different? Why Royal Commission policy and Saudi electricity policy is different? I hope you got the point.
Maybe because the different type of work they are doing, and also the number of employees should be considered.
Okay.
And also I think it's different because of the hazard or the risk.
Excellent.
Between each two companies.
Excellent, Masha.
For example, this company have a chemical, another gas or something.
So how come the same policy could be there? So it should be different. Absolutely.
Yeah, this could be also from the production, like Saudi Aramco, oil and gas, Sadara is different chemicals, plastics, and other chemicals. So this is a totally different hazard. SABIC also have a different production. So this all it's a different production, different hazard, different policy required. So even material required to protect the people.
Absolutely.
So this is totally different. So
the locations are different. The environment is entirely different. The fumes, what coming from oil and gas are entirely different comparing to chemical plants. So of course, indeed, a lot of environmental aspects and impacts, even the size of that organization, that's also matters a lot. The number of employees, like one of our friend mentioned, mashallah, that the number of employees is critically important to understand how that policy need to be penetrated. And of course, this policy need to be in line with the legal standards, the regulatory standards, some international standards, whatever we benchmark, according to the nature of our product actually. Because some standards we are bound to follow, which are important for product certification. I repeat again, like if you are working in oil and gas, let's take an example of Saudi Aramco. They are also following American Petroleum Institute standards like API. Okay. If both parties, we see Sadara and on the other side, Saudi Aramco, you have some compatible standards like NFPA codes, National Fire Protection Agency is there for better fire prevention systems. So maybe those codes you can find out which one is more relevant to your organization and can help you up. But the standards are almost similar, but it not in every segment. Because as per the nature of your products, nature of your processes, you need to decide which ISO standards can be more helpful or what help, like against COVID-19. We all are getting help from our, first of all, the local authorized body like Ministry of Health. And Ministry of Health is coordinating with CDC and WHO, the World Health Organization. So it's kind of interlinked, phenomena which we all need to follow according to the nature of our. That is why the same policy we can't apply everywhere. Now, why isn't there a prescribed one-size-fits-all approach to developing the policies? That's what I was discussing. There are a lot of differences. Why is an organization's health and safety policy is important? Why that policy is important? What is your take on it? Why is an organization's health and safety policy is important? What if you're going to say, oh, in Sadara, we don't have any safety policy, but we have safety systems well implemented, but we don't have safety policy. Why is an organization health and safety policy is important? Over to you, please. Whatever coming in your mind, just let's try to learn from each other, inshallah. Bear in mind, everything we can't get from NEBOSH. They are just kind of, a lot of theory, a lot of vocabulary, a lot of steps to guide in, but technically we need to share our experiences and getting help from other regulatory bodies also. I just have someone in the waiting room, but I'm unable to understand the name. How would I be familiar, who is that actually? Because sometimes the hackers are there or, plenty of issues for online training. So how can I verify? I have no idea.
Did you say the number?
No, it's not number actually. 11 or 5 and very lengthy number. Someone is in the waiting room, but now is not there actually. Let me see if he joins in again, because that is why I mentioned you must type your name instead of any number, or it would be more easier to get to take you inside the class, inshallah.
Okay, I'm not sure how I can type my name because all I see is a number.
No, this is the moment you join in, there is an option actually to change your name. But it's okay because your number is even recognized to me, like 96655 is more than enough. But that number was entirely something fishy, But anyhow, let's move on. Why is an organization's health and safety policy so important? Is it a legal requirement? Is it because of our customer needs? Is it just to share to the all interested parties that we are a committed company for health and safety regulations. We are not a violators. We are giving an evidence in shape of commitments to our employees also, so that they can have a clear direction in line with our business goals and strategies. Why it is so important? Why it is called as a foundation?
Yeah, I think it's important because it set the benchmark for the employees, also for the KPIs, and it directs the whole organization about following this policy. So, for example, if that policy is strict, the employees will follow this, and then you will not expect any, by the goodwill, any incident or anything like that. But if the policy was simple or anything like that, the employees will be affected by this, and I mean, this will lead to a lot of issues from the health and safety side.
So it's a law. Thank you very much, Mashallah, for your great participation. It's kind of an internal law. So zero tolerance requirement. Nobody should dare to violate our safety policy. So you are giving kind of a framework, kind of a foundation and a direction to your organization, and also highlighting to all interested parties, this is our vision for safety. This is how we truly want to move on with our safety system in establishing our health and safety policy, which is quite implemented. And also we benchmark local, legal, international standards. It is right in line with and complying certain regulations. Why my two organizations doing similar work have different policies, we discussed already. Several points are there. So we have standards and guidance like Article 14. If you see ILO recommendation R164, Article 14. Article 14 of ILO recommendation R164. Sometimes we truly need to remember which article number is saying what. Requires employers to set down in writing policy and arrangements for health and safety management where circumstances warranted and in readily understood language or medium. Several companies, they started translating their policy in different languages for better communication, and understanding at every level. Like if someone don't understand English, you can, if they can understand Urdu or Hindi or Arabic, so just translate on those languages. There are three parts of a health and safety policy. It's a statement of intent. It's a highlight your business vision, your strategy, your business direction, actually, what is going to be done, an organization, who is going to do it, and arrangements, how they are going to do it. It's not like just writing some statement and it's all done. How are you going to achieve this policy? By having some achievable kind of objectives or targets, and also you chop up all those objectives with KPIs, key performance indicators, maybe person to person sometime also, like several KPIs you just define for safety manager. Maybe few KPIs you agree with safety officers. Maybe few KPIs you can decide for safety technicians even. And several KPIs you agree with the safety director. So what I mean is, even person to person you can go for KPIs, key performance indicators, but in line with your policy, in line with your business goals and objectives. Now, how they are going to, so any objective, any KPI without achievement plan is just kind of a document and no intention to achieve. Any objective, any target, any KPI without achievement plan is nothing. So make sure your all plans are integrated with your achievement directions. Also, statement of intent, let's discuss one by one. It is setting overall aims and objectives, complying with the law. That means a legal requirement as well. Achieving standards, reminds workers at all levels of their responsibilities. Signed and dated by the most senior person, maybe the managing director, the general manager, sometime I noted, Sometimes the CEO of the company or the president or the board member, or sometimes signed by the director, But anyhow, must be the most senior person, and also the regular review we require for that general statement of intent. The moment in line with the policy, we are setting some objectives, make sure we are following the SMART tool. That means the objectives have to be specific, clearly defined, precise, measurable towards a target, quantified, achievable, it can be done, reasonable within time scale and resources, time bound, that means deadline and time scale. Example is review all 48 risk assessments within 12 months period. So objective is quite clear that 48 risk assessments are going to be reviewed within 12 months. Even further, we can chop up this elephant into 12 months, like within 1 month, how many policies we need to review, either 4 or 5 or 6 or 8. What would be our speed, to review those 48 assessments? So it's up to us what kind of objectives we are defining, but make sure they are setting SMART actually. Specific, clearly defined, precise, measurable, because that is why data analysis is very much important towards a target, quantified, achievable, it can be done, reasonable within time scale and resources, and time bound, deadline and time scale. Let me give you one practical example. I asked the first aider, are you logging everything who is coming with headache, back pain, or with small injuries or something like that? So are you logging everything? Yes, I have an Excel sheet, and the huge data bank is created for the last 3-4 years even. Then I asked him, for the last 1 year, which one is the highest kind of a red zone area, or the area where people are, or any process where people are getting more problems or any injuries? No data analysis was there, only log sheet. So no benefit of log sheet if you don't analyze. Any data available for the last 3 months or 6 months or 1 year or 5 years or 10 years must be evaluated, must be analyzed. Then we can find out the focus areas or the most important red zone areas where we truly need to find the right set of solutions. Like if our database is sharing a lot of back pain, every day people are reporting, and absenteeism is more higher because of back pain, because of manual handling, because of lifting several heavy weights. And people are killing themselves through this weight, and every day a lot of back pain issues are coming, and more absenteeism is like the ratio is going up. A lot of time wastage because of back pain, but nobody is focusing that area. Nobody is identifying the real root causes. Why the back pain is more terrible issue within our company? Can we find some mechanical lifting mechanism, Can we train our people how to lift? Can we define the weight? If you are the safety leader, mashallah, and you are going to define the weight, what should be the weight you will define for the male and for the female to lift manually? I repeat again, you are going to define the weight lifting for male and female. What would be your criteria actually? How much weight you will allow to the male and to the female to lift manually within your company? Yes, please. Like our people are working in warehouses and different storage areas, different chemical areas. They are lifting several tools, equipments, several boxes they lift. stack up on the racks, de-stacking also. It's not like always the forklift is working everywhere. So the question is, what should be the weight to be allowed to the male and to the female to lift? And still proper training we must need to give them actually. And anybody have an idea, like if you are a safety leader, how much weight you will implement to lift for male and female?
You need a specific number or
Yes, specific numbers, not average. The specific number. Like this is the maximum weight someone should lift within our company manually for male and female. I'll share one case study also, and I was directly involved into it, and it was truly so difficult to convince the top management and even to the customer that that should be the maximum weight for the male and the maximum weight lifting for the female actually, manually. Wherever money is involved, people are very much reluctant to, accept your changes. Even they are the legally positive changes, but they'll not accept if money is involved. I'll share that case study. Like if I ask about Sadara, within your company, any person for manual lifting, how much weight is allowed to lift? And if it is more than that, he will not lift by hands. For male and female. Otherwise, you can go back and double check what is written in your manual handling procedures. What is written, the specific weight for the male and the female. Otherwise, just note down maximum 25 for male and 16 kg for female. Above than 16 for female is a violation. Above than 25 for male again is a violation for manual handling. Now let me share that case study. In one of the company, we were implementing and establishing a system, we call it IMS, Integrated Management System, integrating several standards. Now in the packing area, the packing box is coming from through the pallet, auto packaging, auto wrapping, from the machine, but the weight is 30 kg. The box weight is 30 kg. Now the gentleman, the employee, he has to lift that box, putting on the pallet, and then on ground 4 boxes in one layer, and then 3 high. That means total 12 boxes on one pallet. And then he is the one, or the next one, another employee, he will take that pallet for shrink wrapping, with plastic wrapping and all that, and then deliver to the dispatch area or to the warehouse. Now, the moment we were performing risk assessment and we realized that the weight of the box only for that particular customer, not for all, only for that particular customers, why it is 30 kg. While all other customers, they are accepting 20 kg box, which is more than enough and easy to handle, manage through the workers. Why only for one customer 30 kg box is designed and also being followed, and nobody have any problem. And I don't want to disclose the name of that brand because we have confidentiality agreement, but it's a huge brand in the world. And the moment we had a meeting with the top management, like internally with the company, so company was having a straightforward excuse, look, Ishtiaq, customer will not agree. He enforced us, you have to, my packaging, you have to go with 30 kg box, not with 20 kg. And that is why we redesigned the box, we reprinted the box, we remanufactured the boxes only for that customer separately. And what was the logic behind? A lot of money was involved. This customer was kind of a regular customer for that company and giving a lot of orders. And based on his cost reduction plan or money saving plan, in other words, he realized if he increased, the size of the box, and on the other side, reduce more carton boxes. Like if you have 20 kg box, that means more boxes you required comparing to 30 kg. So a lot of weight reduction, accumulative weight, a lot of reduction is there. And then a lot of money saving in shape of tax at the border. Very much benefit for space allocation in the warehouses because they designed their rack accordingly. Because you pay tax on the border for per kg, kg wise rate is there. And on the other side, if that box is 30 kg instead of 20, that means the less cotton boxes are being used. More products, less cotton boxes, and saving a lot of money, inside. Then we had a meeting with the customers also directly in presence of the top management of that company. And this customer straightforwardly mentioned, look, Ishtiaq, if our saving is $2 million, how come we can accept your suggestion? So let it be done another way around. If any other solution is there, please suggest us. Then I suggested, okay, hire a robot, not a human being. Have a robot there. He will pick the box and putting on the pallet. But that idea they implemented in UK, but not in Saudi Arabia, even until today. They implemented that idea in UK, and I was present there also, but not in Saudi Arabia. So this is how sometimes our customers are punching us to violate the legal laws, just for saving a lot of money by killing people. I hope it will give you an idea that how we ethically have to play as a customer, even as a contractor. So make sure all your objectives are smart. Now, setting smart objectives will be based on what things we need to consider. Who is going to set the objective? That gentleman is so much important. How objectives will be set at each functional level. Legal and other requirements have to comply with, hazards and risks, technological options, financial, operational, and business requirements, views of interested parties. Bear in mind, you will be the most disliked safety leader if you are suggesting expensive solutions to eliminate hazards or to reduce different risks as per your assessments. I repeat again, as a safety leader, if you are suggesting the most expensive things, to your top management, you will be the most disliked person, They will not like you. They don't want to get expensive ideas from safety leadership. But sometimes there is no choice. One of the company, there were a lot of hand injuries, on a different machines, a lot of hand injuries. So they calculated how we can prevent from all hand injuries because customers are putting pressure, more than 100 brands who are buying, their products from that particular company. And they were putting pressure. We don't want to see any hand injuries. We don't need such products that where you are killing your employees for our products, so find out a solution. So then I was also involved for that project, and from starting from first step to even up to the stacking on the pallet, or sorry, racks in the warehouse, all were robotic technology, the artificial intelligence. What I mean, no more employees working on the machine, automation. Only 3-4 persons are sitting in the office and managing the whole plant. And then we prove, look, Mr. Customers, all 100 brands, we found the solution, even though it is the most expensive solution, but now we will not have any hand injuries because no more employees into that plant. But the rest of the plants, especially in Saudi Arabia, still we have. In UK, no, but in Saudi Arabia, still that robotic technology, they are thinking because it's a hell of money is involved. And why they are accepting, in UK immediately? Because hard to violate or not easy to convince the UK government even. They don't want to see any hand injuries. But in Saudi Arabia, some flexibility. But now Saudi government is getting more serious, especially after this Makkah incident with Bin Laden. They are more strict on safety standards, and you can take a clear example during this pandemic dealing with COVID-19, how they implemented all the precautions, and that is why they managed successfully, mashallah. So targets may be included in the statement of intent to show commitment to improvement. What targets could be included? General examples. Can you give some examples of targets you can include in statement of intent or in your policy document? What targets could be included? Can you give some examples of those targets? Like, let me give you one example. 0% accidents in our company. This is our target. That means 0 accident club we are going to create and achieve within our company. What are the targets you believe should be there? Over to you, please. Any one of you, please.
For example, the best practices implementation.
Okay. That means implementing the best practices in line with our legal regulations or regulatory or customer defined standards. Okay, that is our target. That means 100% compliance of legal, regulatory, and even customer defined standards. Okay. Any other target, please? We can mention in our statement of intent. Any other example? Because we need to set some targets. Like we already set target, 100% marks, inshallah, in NEBOSH IG1 and IG2. And yes, our target must be higher. The more you aim high, mashallah, more better results you get. So whatever you think, the thing's done. If you think you can achieve 100%, excellent, you will do it, inshallah. But if you think you can't achieve even 45%, yes, you are right also, because whatever you think, the thing's done. So make sure you think positively on a higher grounds, inshallah. So what are the targets we can mention in the statement of intent, or which can highlight our commitment towards health and safety management system? Like you mentioned, mashallah, 100% legal compliance, no violations, no damage to the environment. Are you going to put that statement also? Ensuring basic welfare facilities to our employees. Are you putting that intention also in your commitment? Meeting customer expectations. Is it your intention also to implement this health and safety management system? But make sure those targets are well mentioned and highlighting your commitment or kind of intention of your company, either in shape of policy or in shape of sometime we provide declaration also, some kind of contract as well, some kind of manual. We deliver several statements actually, just to keep our customers more satisfied and giving them confidence that will not violate any of the legal, regulatory, or even customer defined standards actually. So whatever targets you are setting in your policy or even separately in a separate document, make sure you have clear organizational roles and responsibilities, because ultimately you truly need to achieve those targets. And even though you have achievement plan, within your achievement plan, who will do what? You required certain people to join in and make sure they are putting all efforts and achieving those targets. Now, outline the chain of command for health and safety management, identifies the roles and responsibilities of staff, usually includes an organizational chart relating to health and safety, shows lines of communication and feedback. Look at the organization roles and responsibilities, starting from managing director. Under managing director, we have several different directors. Under directors, we have managers, then supervisors and employees. And health and safety advisor is linking to everyone. Health and safety advisor is supporting, serving, helping to each function, starting from top to bottom or bottom to top even. Managing director, directors, managers, supervisors, and employees. So if a company have a safety department, logically, they are so much blessed that they have someone who will be supporting and guiding and doing risk assessment and giving them induction or having a lot of hazard recognition practices and improving the areas, ensuring housekeeping and motivating them why health and safety system is important, and making them a better person and ensuring a good environment on ground and making their machines and plant and processes more safer. So basically it's a blessing. Having a safety department is a blessing for a business, but unfortunately again misconceptions are there in the market. That is a headache. They are just they always come with expensive solutions and a lot of money we are spending just to comply with safety regulations. But on the other side, it's a legal requirement as well. It's a business continuity requirement. I always encourage to the company, don't put safety systems kind of cost in your operational cost. No. This is goodwill cost, business continuity cost. You can't run your business without safety department. How come you can claim that we don't have any safety department and you can have even a single project? Not at all. How can you tell to the government that we damn care what is safety is all about? So it's a business continuity requirement rather than we are putting this cost in operational, sometime under maintenance. Like if I ask you, do you have a separate safety budget and a separate safety expenses account in the finance and accounts books? If I ask how much money you have invested in Sadara for the last 3 years, only for health and safety, for maintaining health and safety system, anything, maybe refilling of fire extinguishers, maybe printing of several safety signs, maybe a lot of safety inspections or audits, from outside. Or do you have a compliance account into your accounts books separately? Or it is all mixed as an operational cost, So you can go back and see how Sadara is operating. Do you have a separate safety budget? Do you have separate accounts, punching all the cost expenses into that account? If I'm coming as an auditor within Sadara and I ask, can you show me your safety budget? Can you show me the money you have invested to maintain your health and safety system? And you're going to say, sorry, we don't have any data. While this is a great evidence objective evidence to highlight your strong commitment that you are investing millions of riyal just to maintaining this system. And look at, this is the evidence. That much money you invested for training, that much money you invested for several testing, maybe for air analysis, maybe for noise assessment, maybe for pest control, maybe, several, whatever link to health and safety, you are putting into your account actually, and that budget to be realized every year, that much money you required every year to maintain this safety system. If that is not happening, it's a huge gap, I'm telling you. But I'm sure since you are a role model, mashallah, so obviously it should be there within your company for sure, inshallah. Yes, I noted one more terrible mistake in organizational hierarchy. We put safety manager under operation manager. A drastic, terrible mistake, How come he can work confidently under operation manager? Because you'll be highlighting a lot of risk, unsafe facts, unsafe conditions in operations. Or under project manager, sometime I noted. You are putting safety manager under project manager. Then my friends, this safety manager would never be productive because he's reporting to project manager. So he'll be just listening him, and it's human nature to keep our boss happy, And we try our level best to keep our boss happy. So if you made operation manager or project manager the boss of safety manager, then it's all over. That hierarchy is very destructive, But in Sadara, I'm sure, inshallah, your safety hierarchy could be entirely separate, starting from safety director, maybe then, coming up with several managers, project to project. Maybe for each project, you would have separate safety manager. Under safety manager might be several safety supervisors or safety officers or safety technicians, complete hierarchy would be there. That is why you are a distinguished brand, mashallah, and highly respected. The reason is you are having a great hierarchy, mashallah, the great teamwork, and no terrible influence of a gentleman you are going to audit or inspect every day, maybe. So make sure you define the set of responsibilities, especially for the CEO or the managing director. Ultimately, they are responsible and accountable. Oh, our employees are careless, our employees are not listening, our employees loves to take shortcuts, our employees are putting a lot of unsafe acts, they damn care whatever the unsafe conditions are there, they don't care whatever hazards are there, they don't listen us. So, my friend, as a leader, this is your failure. That you don't have convincing power, you don't have some motivational grounds, some logic, some kind of techniques to tackle some skills as a secretarist to convince people to follow safety. You are not a good seller of your safety system, by the way. So ultimately, leadership is responsible. Ultimately, leadership is responsible. If more accidents are happening, more terrible consequences everywhere within the company, and nobody cares what is safety is all about, it's a leadership failure. Somewhere, maybe the top leadership, they're not committed. And if they are committed, of course, a lot of improvements you'll observe, And sometimes I believe as a company, might be we don't want to follow any safety standards, but the moment we have customer like Sadara or like Saudi Aramco or Royal Commission, so they will definitely push us. Where is your safety policy? Where is your safety objectives or kind of KPIs or your job responsibilities or your complete safety SOPs or procedures, even safety manual. So then we will start doing it. What I mean is customer driven market. Whatever our customer will say, we will follow. Like you send one email to all your contractors, just one email to all your subcontractors or contractors of Sadara. we need your safety improvement plan for next 3 years. Just ask one simple document. We need your safety improvement plan for next 3 years or maybe 5 years. And then just, observe the response, inshallah. And that would be a direct indicator which will highlight who is the best contractor proactively, smart enough, and have an achievement kind of improvement plan for next 5 years, only for HSE, health, safety, environment. And those contractors, you are lucky to have, mashallah. Just ask one question by sending, because you are the customer and customer is king. So just send one email to all your contractors and see how they respond. Now, there is one email one of the customers sent to their contractors, like Ishtiyaq will come as a safety auditor, so be ready. Be ready on behalf of us, he will be coming to audit. We don't need your internal audit reports. We have our own auditor, but you are the one going to pay him also, because you are the customer. And you agree such terms even in the contracts, that we can send any auditor anytime, maybe from third party, but make sure you are the one going to pay. Whatever the cost will be agreed between you and the auditor itself, maybe 2,000 Riyal per day, or maybe 5,000 Riyal, or maybe 10,000 Riyal per day, per man day. It depends on the size of the organization, but he will be the only one to report us, not you. Your internal reports we don't trust, because you can give all positive stories and we need the genuine real stories. That is why we are encouraging you to be ready. Ishtiyaq will be coming to audit your companies, and this is how sometimes we get projects. And as a neutral person, we will definitely highlight whatever gaps are there or opportunities for improvement in a positive way, not in a negative way, not like a threat, because ultimately we are responsible as a customer to develop our contractors actually and bring them as per to meet our expectations. This is our responsibility also as a customer. Like Saudi Aramco, Sadara, I'm sure you have surprise development plans as well. Just go back and check what that plan is talking about. The suppliers, the contractors development plan, how you will develop your contractors. So all employees responsible for acting safely, competent person like first aiders, fire marshals, and specialist health and safety practitioner responsible for providing advice to support management and employees. But most important area is the all employees responsible for acting safely. So everyone is responsible for his own safety actually. And the management is responsible for day-to-day management. But even though the management, all employees, competent person, including health and safety practitioners, but ultimately responsibility is the CEO, the managing director, the president of the company or the owner of the business. He is ultimately responsible for safety actually. So what arrangements should be there? The general topics we can add, like carrying out risk assessments. Even if you join any other company, the risk assessment should be your first step. We call it either gap analysis, or you just carry on, the risk assessment, or might be they already have risk assessments. You just going to update or review either the existing controls are okay, or still you have some more additional controls to be implemented to make those processes more safer. Then of course, information instruction trainings are critically important, because training and development both are reciprocal. Training and development both are reciprocal. So that is why always we encourage never stop your training. It's not like always come to the third party. You can be a self-learner, passionate learner, because in safety profession, we should never ever even think to stop our learning. because every day something new we're gonna get. Several variables, several simultaneous operations are going on. Sometime at one project, 150 different contractors are working. Sometime at one project, maybe 50 different cranes are working. A lot of other heavy equipment. So every day is kind of a new day, and we'll find something to learn and improve, inshallah. That is why it's a continual journey. Nobody as a safety expert can say, yes, I don't need any learning. Every day new technologies are incorporating into the machines. That means risk assessment is becoming more critical. It's not easy anymore, because we as a risk assessor have to understand that equipment, that machine more deeper. Then we can realize either it is meeting the safety requirements or something still we can improve for that machine, or even for that particular process. So be ready, guys. Even after this training, I would recommend not only for IGC achievement or certification achievement, keep that momentum. Like you are spending several hours every day. So keep that momentum. You reduce 50%, but at least 1 hour only for learning. You can deploy 1 hour only for learning, other than your job, Even though day to day on the job also, we learn a lot of things. Accident and near miss reporting, recording and investigation. I noted as a safety auditor, especially a lot of near miss they don't report. But the moment you see the area or the equipment, you realize several near misses are happened, but they didn't report actually. Recording and investigation, consultation with workers, developing safe systems of work, welfare and first aid provision, and fire safety and prevention. Fire prevention, fire protection, and firefighting. Okay, what is the difference between fire protection and fire prevention? Over to you, please. The difference between fire prevention and fire protection. What is the difference? Over to you, please. The difference between fire prevention and fire protection.
Assalamu alaikum. Like fire protection, like a fire extinguisher, like fire equipment, okay, or fire department, okay. This is fire protection, in general, I'm saying. Fire hydrant. This is the system which will be implemented and it's already fixed in the plants or area, okay. But fire prevention, this is after the if some accident, fire incident or accident, how to prevent this from happening. This is my understanding, and this is to prevent any fire to be happening from plant or equipment or offices. This is in general what I'm saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your participation, your contribution, mashallah. Any other response, please? What is the difference between fire protection and fire prevention? Any other opinion, please? I'm not asking the bookish knowledge. I'm talking to your experience, your intelligence, your technical, logical understanding. I'm talking to you, mashallah.
Yes, in my opinion, fire prevention is all the measures taken before the fire happen or any fire incident take place. While fire protection, all the measures are taken during the event and maybe after the fire happens. So I agree partially with Fawaz. Fire prevention before and fire protection during and after.
Excellent, excellent. So prevention is better than cure, right? So any one of you have ever heard the word BOQ? Like if you are constructing a building, take an example of Sadara's office buildings. Any understanding you have about BOQ? The bill of quantity? like how much material, what kind of material, based on which international standard it is used to construct this building, and how the fire prevention kind of standards are incorporated starting from the design phase of that building. Take an example of electric wires for that building. If that building is constructed for 100 years, how you can prevent that building for electric short circuits or avoiding any fire incident, God forbid? What should be the quality of that electric wires? Like this building is designed for 100 years, so logic says the wires should be sustainable for maybe 150 years. So that means less chances through the design phase by implementing several international standards for the materials. You are trying hard to ensure less number of incidents in future to be welcomed, especially related to fire. Just giving one example. Now, your fire doors, what is the material? What is the coating? Housekeeping, how you are ensuring housekeeping as a preventive measures to reduce the chances of your fire, rather than welcoming the fire incidents. No doubt, fire protection during and after is very much important. We must be ready. Anything can happen, God forbid. You never know. 100% is only Allah. But still, we can try to reduce the possibilities, the probabilities. Because several companies, I noted their focus is, oh, we have firefighting team and we have sprinklers, we have fire hoses, and it's more than enough. But they will ignore what? The housekeeping. They will ignore the shelf life, the expiry date of different electrical items. So prevention is better than cure. So we should first of all work on fire prevention system. Fire protection is definitely mandatory. Civil defense will not agree. They will not pass even your drawing sometime if you don't agree with their procedures and kind of standards. They will come for inspection. Even Baladia, in general, small buildings I'm talking about. So fire safety and fire prevention system must be there. Emergency procedures, of course, different kind of emergencies. After the break, inshallah, we'll start from here. This is a little bit deeper subject, the emergency procedure. So we'll discuss, inshallah, after the break, what kind of emergency is going to be there, how we can protect ourselves, how our emergency response plan must be in place, and also tested, validated. We'll discuss, inshallah, after the break. Thank you very much. Have your lunch and prayer break, and thank you very much for your great patience, your focus, your kind of energy for participation. So we'll start, inshallah, after the break.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Warmly welcome back after lunch and prayer break. So we were right in the middle of discussion about emergency procedures. And here I would like to give you some of the detailed analysis of Saudi Aramco, because after even 82 years experience from different sides, they gather some information, the real-time data from the floor, and they found a lot of employees, even they don't know what is an emergency or what is the emergency number. In case of emergency, they have to report back. And most importantly, what is their role actually in case of emergency, or where are the muster points, what exactly they have to do, and what to say, how to report that emergency. They don't know actually. And this, on the other side, no doubt, every company have ERP, we call it emergency response plan, in hands. But if that plan is not practiced or validated through our actions, kind of real-time learning, to make sure generally in case of any emergency, we would have a solid response. Several brands in the world, because of this pandemic, because of this COVID-19, they're exposed back because no contingency plan or kind of emergency response plan was ready for a biohazard. Actually, biological hazard means the coronavirus. And on the other side, you can note down Saudi Aramco, even during the pandemic, their sites were running because they were quite ready how to respond back, how to still survive into that terrible situation. And the real leadership would always exposed in bad times. In good times, anyone can be a good leader, to be very honest. But the moment you have crunchy time or kind of challenging time or crisis period is started up, that moment, your real leadership skills will be exposed, how you give decisions to the company at every function level, and most importantly, what would be your kind of motivation to keep that energy alive, that still your company will be surviving, inshallah. During the pandemic, every business almost affected terribly, but there were several businesses, they just boost up, like their bottom line, their profit, the way they expand their business globally, because of online or digitalization promoted a lot. Like even in our case, previously our focus was only Saudi Arabia. Let me be more honest, But now we are getting clients from USA, from UK, from other countries, even Bahrain, Dubai, because now we are more like open to the world actually. But previously it was all about the live face-to-face sessions only within Saudi Arabia. So what I mean to say is, some way or another, everything have advantages and disadvantages. But the companies who were ready, instead of being demoralized or demotivated because of this pandemic, they applied a lot of good strategies in line with their contingency planning or crisis management plan was there, and they reduced the possibility of those crises. They minimized the impact, and later on the growth strategies are still there. On the other side, several industries you can notice, they became so much successful. Take an example of logistics, food companies, pharmaceutical industry, the hospital business gone up. On the other side, I would say the software companies, the revenue of Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram all went up. And plenty of other industries you can name, which got a lot of advantage during this pandemic because everybody came online. But the companies who were never ever ready, or no contingency plan or no emergency response plan was there, and some companies were having also, by the way, but they couldn't practice it in a right direction, unfortunately. And this is just one kind of emergency, and there are several emergencies could happen. Like if you are working in a high hazardous industry, like a chemical industry, it's a high hazardous industry. I still remember back in 1984, one of the worst chemical disaster kind of incident happened in Bhopal, India. And within a couple of days, 8,000 people were almost died, just because of some terrible toxic chemicals went into the air and they couldn't manage them properly. So the problem with the emergencies is not like only impacting your business or your company only. It can impact to the nearby communities also. Like if any toxic fumes are going outside a company, they will be spread through the wind direction. With heavy winds, going to the city levels, and a lot of people, they would be affected maybe with asthma, with breathing issues, plenty of other toxic elements will be disturbing their health level. So it's a collective ethical responsibility of a business to make sure not only their employee safety, even the safety of their nearby communities, or overall the safety of the country even, they have to play a role actually. Because of their business, nobody should be affected. One of the incident happened, this sulfuric acid, the storage tank just spilled up because of one welding hot work was going on. And small vent holes intentionally in the design phase we kept in any toxic overpressure, so it can release from the vent holes. But unfortunately, that welding guy, he couldn't take it seriously. No gas testing, and even gas testing was there, and all LEL, even the carbon monoxide or the oxygen level, everything was good enough. Even LEL was 0%, by the way. But the moment they started welding, and immediately because of sun heat, some vapors came outside through that vent holes, and terrible disaster. Now that sulfuric acid spread up and went to the sea and killing a lot of fishes, and so terrible consequences. And we are occupied with the manufacturing of chemicals. You just name any product and I will tell you, still some chemicals are being used for that particular process. You talk about packaging products or even pharmaceutical or any industry, even oil and gas. Just imagine how many chemicals are being used. Even itself, oil and gas itself is kind of a chemical, in liquid and gas form. So any terrible release, if we are not ready how to cope up, imagine if H2S release is there from oil rig site or from any confined spaces, and if you have no plan how to deal with it, your emergency response plan is not effective at all, then the consequences could be terrible, outcome. And nobody want such kind of disasters, but still happening. If you go back and check 200 years history, the reason was the smallest, but disaster was really big. And the company was not ready to tackle those disasters, That is why I told you we will discuss after the break this topic. Like, even if I get any project from Sadara, before you let me to start any of the project at your facility, of course, you will enforce me to follow PTW, the permit to work system, get work permit, and you'll not issue that work permit until I give HIP, hazard identification plan, ERP, emergency response plan. So without emergency response plan, and that response plan should be correlating with your emergency response plan. It's not like copy pasting, And this is all happening. Sometimes we believe, oh, it's just for bidding, so please send me your ERP, so I will submit. Same ERP, no change. How come you can just copy paste the same ERP and sending to your customers and then believe that your customer doesn't know anything? They know actually, but still they have supplies development plans. Still they give you certain time to be ready to tackle different kind of emergencies. No doubt, prevention is better than cure, but what about the natural disasters? We are damaging this planet. A lot of environmental violations are there, and ultimately more floods, more earthquakes, heavy rains, landsliding even, we are facing in Pakistan also in our hilly areas actually. Recently, a lot of incident happened, in Philippines, even in Kerala in India. The flood was terrible. So because of this environment damage, we are very near to destroy this planet. And that is the reason the whole world is sitting all together. And sometimes I say, you are the billionaire, you are the richest person in the world. But what if you don't have clean water or clean air or kind of oxygen? Then how come you can claim, you are the richest one? Because oxygen, the cleaned, uncontaminated oxygen. This is our number one need, like 21%. And on the other side, second need is have a uncontaminated or cleaned water, with all the set of properties, which is beneficial to us rather than. So we are damaging that water resources. Might be a time will come, God forbid, a big war just for water, That is why in Saudi Arabia, you'll be noticing even within your Sadara projects, that every project should have a separate environmental engineer or EMS coordinator, environmental management system coordinator for each project. You can't apply one corporate environmental engineer for all the projects, For every project, you need one gentleman to be there. Same like WPR, work permit receiver. For each activity sometimes happening within confined spaces or restricted areas, you need a separate WPR. That's how Saudi Aramco applied certain rules from their side also. Why? They really want to be ready to tackle any kind of unwanted situation or kind of emergency. Like if a sudden exposure is there of carbon monoxide or H2S or LDL is out of control on the other side, or a sudden explosion or fire is there, how you are going to tackle such kind of emergencies? Even within your emergency plan, you can note down, do you have one segment, we call it civil disobedience? Like what if your employees get together and went for strike, because of any reason? How are you going to tackle this kind of emergency? Suddenly, because of COVID-19, things are entirely out of the way and it's a new normal. So how you are tackling this kind of emergency? I hope it will help you to give a reason. It's not like only a documentation, actually. It's something very serious. And we truly realized the moment that emergency we faced, actually, the world was sleeping, to be very honest. But the moment coronavirus came, even though a terrible wake-up call, but that wake-up call gave surely a solid reason to the world, especially to the business community, even to the governments. And it really shaked up that we have to think out of the box. We truly need to expect the unexpected and be ready for any sort of unforeseen or kind of terrible emergencies, how to tackle them. Still, no guarantee that we can tackle them 100%, but at least we can put all our efforts and have a plan of action, for each kind of emergency. And there are different types of emergencies. Mashallah, you easily can understand. And one of the arrangements surely be there within our company is the compliance monitoring, that we are not violating the legal laws or not violating even our internal SOPs. The standard operating procedures are kind of, procedures, or on the other side, we sometimes just hand over some kind of stepwise instructions, actually. We call it work instructions, So whatever standardized, implemented through the top management, through the compliance department, make sure no violations are there. But how are you going to check? Monitoring is required, and including auditing. That is why auditing is kind of a systematic way up to verify either our health and safety system is well implemented, being followed, and having, no terrible violations, or if there are some opportunities for further improvement, we are definitely putting actions in place and creating some better compliance, And I gave you one example. All peers were cancelled. Only one overtime legal requirement was not being fulfilled from that company. And all the POs were cancelled from that brand, And then the company realized how small things sometimes are so much important. They were not caught by the Saudi government. They are caught by the customer because they send the auditors and they realize the company is violating the legal law. That means the overtime, excessive overtime. And company is giving excuses every time and, and have the same phase of violation. And then immediately they took terrible action. No more POs, no new POs, and even existing POs were cancelled. Then company realized and immediately they started following up. And they requested back to the customer, please don't do this with us. We'll be more ethical on ground. We'll not compromise on legal kind of requirements. Who is guiding the customer? Because how Saudi government sometimes can catch everyone? It's really hard for them. That is why this is kind of interdepartmental or intercoordination system between customers, suppliers, the regulatory bodies, the international bodies, even the government bodies, all are working together. That means a coordination or kind of partnership between public and private institutions. So, can you think of any other specific health and safety hazards? It's over to you. Can you think of any specific health and safety hazards? Health and safety, you can consider two domains of hazards. One, safety hazards, and the other domain is health hazards. So can you just highlight some of the hazards? Over to you, please. Anyone voluntarily, please. Any examples of health hazards or safety hazards as per your understanding? Yes, please. If someone say, can you prepare list of hazards, list of health hazards, list of safety hazards? So how would you define what kind of words you will write there actually in shape of hazards? Yes, guys. Let me just unmute to all of you. Like if you talk about chemical, is it health hazard, comes under health hazard category or comes under safety hazard? If we talk about electrical, is it belong to safety hazards domain or health hazards domain? Then ergonomics or gravitational hazards or radiation, noise.
Yes, chemical health hazard.
Any other examples of health hazards, coming in your mind?
Like diseases or bacterial or animals affect.
Good, mashallah. That means bloodborne pathogens or HIV, hepatitis B, C, including COVID-19, the coronavirus. That's also the health hazard, directly hitting to our health, damaging our health. And like radiation is another category of health hazards. Even vibration, directly to. So anything which is harmful to our body or have adverse impact on our health. I repeat again, anything, any harmful thing which have direct effect on our health, that is called health hazard. And safety hazard, anything which is directly impacting or have adverse impact on our safety, that is safety hazards. Like electrical, mechanical, these are examples of safety hazards or ergonomics even. But on the other side, if we talk about health hazards, chemical, radiation, vibration, noise, temperature, even the environment is directly impacting on our health, so we can say it's a health hazard. And our real challenge from, as a safety leader, the real challenge what we have on ground in any sort of industry, how to control, how to eliminate those hazards, or how to control those hazards, because every hazard there are associated risk level, and that is why the risk evaluation is important. And the moment we evaluate it, we create a kind of control plan accordingly. Might be the existing controls are not sufficient enough. We complete a risk assessment of or maybe any activity, could be excavation or working in confined space, but we are not happy with the existing controls. So we plan some additional controls later on. And that is the real job of a safety leader actually on ground. Okay, so what other arrangements we surely require? Specific risk and problems could be lone working. Anybody have an idea what is lone working? Any one of you is familiar with this term, the lone working? Any one of you, please? Will you allow anyone to work alone or work in the remote area and then only you have some sort of communication with that gentleman? And if a lone working is critically, unavoidable, then what is the system you have in place? What safety rules you need to apply? And will you allow anyone to work alone? Yes, please.
For the system should be at least two guys working together to in case of any problem or any issues or any incidents that the guy can be support him or can also communicate with the emergency if there is any leak, if there is any chemical splash his body or something like that. So this one should be two guys working together to support each of them.
Excellent, Marshall. Absolutely right.
Thank
Now, the noise exposure control. In one of the company, we got a contract and the company was facing, they were unable to, receive a license from PME of Saudi Arabia, like Presidency of Environmental Metrology. And without their license, you can't start your manufacturing. It was a manufacturing unit. And without that license, you are not supposed to continue the production actually. And that license you can't get until you have complete environmental study or a lot of action plans to be in place, that you are controlling how you are keeping your ventilation at excellent level, how you're going to make sure the air is would be clean even during the manufacturing, how you're going to make sure the noise level will be below 80 decibel as per UK regulations or below 85 decibel as per OSHA regulations, or might be as per Sadara or Saudi Aramco as well, or Royal Commission, they standardize 85 decibel. But how are you going to make sure that the noise kind of the control plans are well implemented? The accumulative noise of your manufacturing unit is not going up. Not only the manufacturing units, even any of your area like generator area at our project site is a highly noisy area. Any compressors we are running into that area may be high noise level. So how are we going to control them actually? One of the company, from UK, hired by Saudi Aramco only for noise assessment, not noise control. They came only for noise assessment and directly from UK. And I was also with him for other things, for delivering some training session. 8 rig sites we visited together because he was just for transportation arrangement rather than to use different vehicles for each other. We utilize one vehicle for both options. So So I realized the person came from UK only for noise assessment. And what he was doing, he was just taking the layer of that rig side, having a noise testing meter, getting the reading of each area, and highlighting the numbers on that map. That's it. Later on, might be he will prepare some report or as per their company's standards or as per requirements of Saudi Aramco. But what I mean is, he just came for noise assessment. And several areas he showed me, even look, Ishtiaq, some areas we have more than 105 decibel, more than 110 decibel, while the legal limit is 85 decibel. But for 8 hours, above than 8 hours, even 85 decibel is not acceptable, you know. So whenever the word comes control, bring hierarchy of control in your mind. Whenever you want to control any risk, any hazard, whatever challenges we have on floor, but make sure you apply a hierarchy of control. And it all starts from elimination. If you can't eliminate, find the substitute. Like substitution means if you are using, you know, solvent-based paint, let's take an example. But water-based paint is also available as an alternative, as a substitute. So, which is less flammable, less toxic. So no harm to replace that toxic chemical with water-based. That means first step is elimination, otherwise substitution. And after that, you can apply engineering controls, either maybe isolation or some kind of overhauling, maintenance, several steps we follow for engineering controls. Sometimes we change several noisy parts, better preventive maintenance plans to be in place. So we apply several things. Any rotating parts are there, we fence, we cover them, we have guarding for all moving parts. So we apply engineering controls, and later on we apply administrative controls, creating some rules, regulations, having some trainings, different kind of toolbox meeting, whatever we perform in shape of documentation is all comes under administrative control, including our warning signs, even the safety meetings and having safety minutes of safety meetings, several things in terms of documentation, all comes under administrative control. Like you create a control, this is a highly noisy area. So first of all, no irrelevant person can go there. Only authorized entry or no entry without permit, whatever rules you define for that area. And then also whoever gonna go there, make sure he wear, you know, the right appropriate suitable PPs as per the noise level. If that noise level is unavoidable because you tried engineering controls, now you have another option, the administration controls. Once that is implemented, the last solution is the PPs, the earmuff, the earplug, but the suitable one, appropriate one. So same way, there must be a system how to control vibration and control of exposure to toxic materials, control of crowds, you know. And for crowd management, Saudi Arabia is leading by example globally, mashallah. The way you manage crowd and public, especially Hajj Umrah time, you know, almost every Muslim is trying to come to Saudi Arabia from different countries. Control of transport risk and specific health surveillance requirements could also be another way to control up. Now, here is a question to all of you. How can a policy be effectively communicated? What do you think? How can a policy be effectively communicated? I repeat again, how can a policy be effectively communicated?
I believe regarding this point.
Yeah, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I believe a policy is effectively communicated once it's acknowledged by the concerned parties dealing with this policy and I mean working relating to this policy. So the acknowledgement can go through either a meeting or through a system or just where they can acknowledge that they know about all the information about what exactly need to be done, and then after that they will escalate this and share it with the rest of their teams.
Great, mashallah. Any other opinion, please? Thank you very much for your great contribution. Any other opinion, please? How are we going to effectively?
Make sure the work.
Yes, please, Mr. Khalid.
Yes, and also make sure the people who are working in the plant, they already implement that the policies, standard, everything in the plant, and they implement all the documents in the feed, and also need to audit or review it to make sure the people they're fully aware about the policies, the everything in the site.
Excellent, mashallah.
Thank you.
Excellent, mashallah. Thank you very much. Any other opinion, please? Because this word effectiveness, achieving effectiveness in any of our activity, in any of our process, or whatever we are doing for our business for value addition, effectiveness is everything. How effective the way you are implementing the system is. And the policy is the first document to implement. So how are you going to achieve that effectiveness, that this policy is well communicated, understood, being followed, being respected also, the most important one, that it is being respected not only by our employees, even our all stakeholders, especially our contractors, being shared with our visitors also. Either we are sharing this policy through induction programs, through our toolbox meeting, through notice boards, through our website to be published, or we're gonna have policy discussion even in our meetings, or every meeting we're gonna start with health and safety policy first of all, as a reminder that whatever our business plans are there, safety policies are incorporated and they are not ignored actually. Or we'll have some training sessions only for health and safety policies training, for our employees, department wise or maybe group based, only for policies, to make them realize why policies are important, why we develop them, why they have to respect our policies. So achieving effectiveness, to be very honest, guys, it's not, to be very honest, it's not easy actually. And is it suitable only in English, or you need to translate in different languages for better understanding, so it can be communicated in a good way so everyone can understand? Now, I have a question to all of you. Have you ever been involved in policy developments? Have you ever prepared even a single policy as a team member or maybe individually also? If I'm gonna say you, please develop a health and safety policy for my company, can you do it? If yes, you are brilliant, mashallah, excellent skill set. If not, start learning, to be very honest, and then see the benefits in future, inshallah. Along with your job, along with your existing job, you can work as a consultant, remote consultant. What is your skill? You are best in policy development. You are best in procedures development or SOP writing. You have excellent skill, in procedures writing. You are excellent in developing certain forms relevant to HSE or quality or food safety, whatever the expertise you have, mashallah. And start working even as a consultant and make money, mashallah. Allah is Razik. But this is how you expand your kind of presence as an individual brand in the market also. It's not like only I'm doing 8 to 9, 8 to 5 job and this is more than enough. And to be very honest, action is real learning. The moment you will start writing, oh, how to write safety policy, let me try first. Let me try even after this training. So let me see where I stand, with my skill set. And from that point, I can have a further development plan and see the outcome, inshallah, maybe within 1 year. You can claim in the market, guys, if you want to develop the policies for your company, hire me as a consultant, but only I'll be working at home, not coming to your site actually. And you start giving services just for system development of policies, procedures, SOPs, formats, different rules, regulations, warning signs, getting information from several bodies, benchmarking several international standards and helping them. And industry needs our support and help. And they are ready to pay also, by the way. But mostly the copy pasters, demolishing the market. And the system development is not a copy pasting. The nature of my business, the way I'm handling my business is entirely different. How come I can copy paste the policies from others actually? And this is unethical also. So what do you think, when should it be reviewed, the policies, the health and safety policies? When should it be reviewed? As per your opinion. When should it be reviewed? Yes, anyone, please.
Yeah, in my opinion, it should be reviewed whenever there is a significant event or there is something to be mentioned in the organization, a change or an accident or anything significant. It should be reviewed immediately just to highlight and include whatever changed in the new policy.
Excellent, Marshall. Brilliant. Otherwise, at least whenever you have, if you believe there is no major change, there is no major change in the laws, not in your company structure, and you still believe this policy is applicable for next 1 year, at least write somewhere the policy was reviewed and all the department heads agreed or the board members agreed that the same policy will be applicable for 2022 or 2021, So at least somewhere you really need to record in minutes that the policy was reviewed. But yes, whenever you believe there is a major accident and that is a clear indicator that your safety policy surely be reviewed. It's not good enough to be effective or any major change, even though you have another procedure, we call it MOC, management of change, but still you need to review your policies. Either you are going to bring some changes in the policy or you just happy with the same level of policy. That is entirely based on your understanding in the meeting. But it must be reviewed. The question is, the requirement is it must be reviewed. It's not like I gave you an example as an auditor. The policy is developed in 2020, 2012 actually. And until now, same policy is displayed. And when I asked, have you ever reviewed? No, this is the only policy because all are happy with the same policy. Then I mean, how come without writing somewhere, or you have management review meeting every year at least, discussing the performance of your business, at least that time you can review your policies. And the word is not only policy, the word is policies. Might be your health and safety policy, one document, then your smoking policy, your waste management policy, your, I mean, the further no jewelry policy. So it's a bonanza of policies integrated with health and safety system actually. So all policies have to be reviewed, but make sure they are also communicated effectively. Now, when we're going to review the policy as per NEBOSH theories, even though we have discussed several segments, but as per NEBOSH reviewing policy, whenever there is changes in key personnel, like you are bringing new managing director or new CEO or maybe new safety director, so make sure you review your policy, management structure, processes, technology, bringing new technology or new legislation, like because of pandemic, because of COVID-19 is new normal. So you need to review your policies, and companies already doing it. Following an incident or as a result of enforcement action, after an audit, after worker consultation, passage of time, or at least annually. No, this is end of module 2.2. Like, what are the 3 key parts to a health and safety policy? We discussed what type of targets might be referenced in the policy. So we have discussed all 2. That was all about the summary of element 2. What we have discussed, the ILO OSH 2001 Occupational Safety and Management System, which can be summarized as policy, organizing, planning, implementation, evaluation, and action for improvement, and of course audit. We also outlined ISO 45001 Safety Management System, and most importantly, we discussed 10 different clauses, like context of the organization. You have to understand maximum level, about anything about your business, the context of your, like your internal, external issues, the expectations of your interested parties, and most importantly, you can conduct a kind of a SWOT analysis, like what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or kind of threats to your business. The more you understand your business, more better context of your organization you can highlight in shape of profile, in the market. Also, you require leadership and worker participation. And once you have this much data, you can go for planning, support operation. You need implementers, performance evaluation and improvement. So 10 clauses of ISO 45001. I have shared this standard also in the WhatsApp group. Whenever you get time, while having a cup of tea, or while smoking a cigarette, just open ISO 45001 and just scroll down and have some understanding what is written inside. Just at least the summary of that standard, and surely it will help you to understand why those ISO standards are important to benchmark for establishing our safety management system. Now, identified the OHS policy of our organization as an important document which sets out what the organization's aims are with regard to OHS, who is responsible for achieving those aims, and how those aims are to be achieved. We discuss a hierarchy of control, starting from managing director, then directors, then managers, supervisors, and the employees. Noted that occupational health and safety policies have to be reviewed in order to stay current and relevant, and that reviews might be carried out periodically or in response to changes. So whenever there is a major change, no harm to review your policy, and most importantly, periodically we can standardize when we are going to review. Even there is no change, still we are going to review and see either the same policy would be applicable or we can bring some further changes. So